Welcome to It Can Get Better Than This. I'm Heather Hodge.
And I'm Dr. Cindy Byler. And today we're going to continue talking about motivation.
Yay. Oh, good.
Last week we talked about the why of motivation in our relationships and creating a safe space in our relationships. So this week, let's talk about the how, because we all need the how as much as we need the why.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. It's good to know how to be motivated.
Right. So I want to bring out three things that we're going to talk about today.
Three principles.
Three
right?
principles, yes.
Yeah.
The first one is to listen more intently, because we're doing intentional relationships. So there's that word again. The second one is to be slow to speak. And the third one is what we talked about in season 2, episode 5, managing anger within our relationships. This is really great for communication, especially when you're dealing with a conflict, an issue, a challenge arose that you are talking about. These are really great principles to help you to have healthier conversations, healthier
Yes.
communication.
And I think especially if you get triggered quickly and easily, this is a good how to on de-escalating yourself for the situation too.
Yes, yes. So let's talk about listening first.
Okay.
One of the things that happens in my office is that sometimes I have people come in, especially when they first start coming, that just talk the whole time. And I'm secretly thinking in my head, am I really helping this person? And what they say usually the second time is, it feels so good just to have somebody listen to me and understand what I'm saying, because nobody else does. And it's kind of sad to me in some respects that somebody has to go to a counselor, a therapist, somebody, just to be listened to, because nobody else is listening to them.
They literally have to pay people to listen to them.
Yes.
And that's all they need. That's wild.
Right.
Wow.
Now, most people need more than to be listened to if they're seeing somebody,
yeah.
because you need to take it steps further and learn a lot of these communication skills and boundaries and all the things that we talk about in counseling. But you're spending a couple sessions just for somebody to listen to you. Like, we need to listen more in our relationships so that people feel heard and accepted and understood, even if we don't always agree, but that they feel accepted and understood for what they're going through in their lives.
That was a game changer with me and my toddler. I realized that one of the main sources of her frustration was having a hard time understanding what she needed.
Yes.
And now, to be fair, overstimulation is a thing, especially with whining and
sure.
screaming. And she's crazy, like
she's a
American
crazy
Ninja
child.
Warrior level crazy. I think
Yes.
she's going to do great things. But
Oh,
she,
yes.
like, she is so smart. And her speech abilities are not keeping up with the level that her brain is at
Yes.
in terms of, like, English.
Right. She's not behind. She's just, her brain is thinking
She's
further
speaking
ahead.
right. She's on track for
Right.
her age, which, cool.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean that she is at a comprehensible level. Like, I can't comprehend her sometimes.
Right.
And that source of frustration, and really taking the time to intentionally figure out what she's trying to say and try to, like, learn little tricks on how to figure out what she's saying. When she can understand and I can understand her, even if it's not what she wants, she has calmed down.
Yes.
Like, that has helped me. I don't know if that it would help everybody, but it does help me
Yes.
with my almost 2-year-old.
Yes. Yeah. It helps most people just to be understood, heard. I can
Right.
get it all the way out, and I don't feel like you're judging me. I feel like we can talk about this,
Right.
even if you don't agree. Like, and sometimes it's good that somebody doesn't agree with us because their perspective is really off, but we've been listened to.
Yeah. And even saying, like, I never in a million years would do what you just did. I understand why you did it.
Right.
I can see that, but I never would have done it that way.
Right.
It's still, like, validating enough. Like, I hear what you're saying,
Right. So let me give you a little trick of the trade in the psychology world.
Okay.
So when someone comes to you with a problem, don't offer a solution right off the bat. We are fixers. Most of us are fixers. They say that's a man thing. That's a
everybody
universal
thing.
thing. Yes. and we want to fix what's going on for them. I have to be careful of that when I'm counseling somebody.
Oh, that's like your whole job right there.
Right, but it's not. It's not to fix them. It's to help them figure out where they want to change their life and change how they think, change how they behave.
Mm, okay.
And I like to fix things, especially if I care, and I care about pretty much everybody and every little animal. So we have to stop ourselves from fixing. And the first thing we need to do is just stop and listen and understand what they're saying. So you want to listen for the emotion and validate that emotion they're feeling before you do anything that looks, smells, or sounds like you're offering solutions and trying to fix their problem.
Yeah.
It can look like, I bet that made you angry. Or I would be disappointed too in that situation.
Yeah.
Or I am so sad that they made you feel that way. I'd be hurt too. It's called empathy. And empathy heals. And we don't have to take on everybody's emotions and carry it with us. That's not good for us. That's unhealthy.
Right.
But to step in somebody else's shoes for the moment and say, "Wow, I would have been so upset." Or, "Wow, I would have been so upset."
Right.
And even not mimic, but copy that emotion that they might be feeling inside. And then once they're calmer and feel understood, because that brings anxiety down and helps somebody feel calmer. It touches those parts of the brain. They feel understood. Then it's time to ask if they would like to work on a solution together, not just insert your solution here. Okay,
Right.
now I've heard and understand you. Now it's my turn to talk.
Like one of the things with the solution thing is if you're not actively listening and you're not listening all the way through, you start fixing segments of the problem too.
Right,
So then it's even more frustrating for the person trying to tell you the problem because you're like,
right.
you don't even know all the pieces of this yet. Let me
Yes,
finish my sentence, please. Let me finish my whole story, please. Like,
right.
hold on.
And that's part of being heard and understood, is getting all the way through what they're trying to say to you.
Yeah.
It's very important to stop. And I think it's important to stop and realize, okay, I need to shut my mouth and turn my ears on and my
Right.
empathy heart on and start listening so I can hear and understand and I can validate emotion.
I think when you're on the defense or the defensive side of a problem too, it's very easy to immediately put your wall up if their whatever their grievances is
Mhm.
something that you've
Oh,
done.
sure.
But I
Yes.
also think that when you are able to empathize with like, man, how would that make me feel if I had done that or if someone had done that to me? You you start letting that guard down a bit more and it's much easier to fix what you're doing
Right.
if it needs to be fixed too.
Right.
I think it's easier to we're so programmed to see through our own lens that we have to actively look through other people's lenses
Right.
to be able to understand what's going on
Right.
with them.
And sometimes what you're doing isn't wrong when you understand the other person, and sometimes bring your own perspective into it after the person has gotten through what they're saying.
Right.
Then and they can understand what you're saying. You can come to some middle ground a lot easier. Oh, I've seen it completely change the game for a couple or a parent child or friends when they see each other, the situation through each other's lenses,
Yeah.
rather than just about how they're feeling and their situation in it.
Yeah. I could see that.
So being quick to listen is crucial in relationships, in intentional relationships. Like how I keep saying
Mhm. I do. I think it'll really hit the
that.
home run on it.
Another thing is that we really talk too much. Not everybody, but for the most part, we want to be heard, get out what we're saying, verbally process, and sometimes we believe that what we have to say is more valid, more important than what the other person is saying, even if we're not consciously thinking that. By talking so much and not listening and stepping back and letting the other person talk, that is what we're communicating.
That's even possible when you're agreeing with somebody. You can think
Yes.
even agreeing with someone, you're like, it's more important that you're saying this because I agree with you and here's why.
Right,
It's still
right. And you're
communicating the same thing.
interrupting the person to agree with them and they're still not getting out what they need to say.
Yeah.
It's really helpful for people to verbally say things to other people. And it takes practice to be intentionally an intentional listener and
Mhm.
not to just talk, especially people that really have thousands and thousands more words than other people. And I don't believe that's just a soapbox, but I don't believe that's a male female
It's not. No.
because my husband has thousands of more words than I could possibly have that he can use in a day. If I used all his words, I would start. I do. I start stuttering if I have too many words because my brain is overloaded with trying to talk.
Yeah, I think that could be a um that could be a neurodivergent thing too. That could be,
It's a
and
personality
that's
thing,
a spectrum too. So some people, yes, some people no.
right?
Personality, the introvert extrovert thing. There's all kinds of
Yes,
factors
that
to
is
that.
not a male female factor. So I want to talk just a minute about motivation and evaluating your motivation, not just in the conversation that you're in with somebody, but I want you to start taking ahead of time. What is your motivation truly in the relationship that you're in? And this can be with your kid or with your spouse or with a friend, your adult, your adult parents. You're an adult child and, your older parents.
Adultier adult parents, I
Yeah,
guess.
premium adult is what I've heard recently, which is cracking me up. So, one of the two questions to ask yourself, and these can be tough questions
Hmm.
because it really gets down to the core of things that we don't consciously assess within ourselves.
Yeah.
First is, are you in this relationship for your gain, or are you in it for both improving both of the quality of your lives together? Is
Mm,
this just about you, or is this about both of you,
right.
or about the other person when it's your kid? Is it about your kid becoming all that they can be, all that they want to be, all that God created them to be? Or is this about what you want your kid to be and how you want your kid to be?
That's a good, honest question because with a kid, you would think that innately it would be about them because, you wrap your whole life around them. But
Right.
if you really sit down and ask yourself that question, that can
Right.
really hit hard. Like,
Well, sometimes we're doing it so we're steering our kids or getting them to behave a certain way because of fear of what other people will say, or our parents and how our parents, their grandparents, will look at us as their parent.
or making sure that they turn into the kind of kid we want them to be too.
Right, right.
Wow.
Which we all want. We do want kindness. We want them to,
Yeah.
but and things like that. We want them to get a good education, things like that. But sometimes we want them to go a certain direction and be things that they're not created to be.
Yeah.
That's not who they are here on earth to be. The second question is, are you coming off like you love the sound of your own voice? This is a little bit direct. I'm never direct, but I'm going to be today. Or the sound of your own opinion more than you value and honor the other person's perspectives and feelings. So do you really like to hear yourself talk that much? And I know people that really do, and it's not like they're terrible people or anything. They're great people, but the sound of your own voice is more important sometimes to people than valuing and honoring the other person's perspectives and feelings and stopping a minute to let them talk,
Yeah.
which is part of being slow to speak. Slow to speak and quick to listen are like,
Interchangeable,
yes,
really.
yeah, you can't do one without the other. If you're listening intentionally, there's that word again,
Hmm.
then you are um, not talking so quickly.
Yeah. I do think though it's very common when you initially start this to think that you're being slow to speak because you're literally counting the time before you can say
Right,
something though.
right,
And it's important to put the timer down and look at them and say, "What did you just say?"
right. Listen, yeah, listen to them when you're not talking.
Yeah. You
Yeah,
almost want to pretend that the other person is an audiobook and you're listening to what they're saying.
that's a great idea. That's a great idea. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about and go on the other side of being slower to speak.
Okay.
So, especially in a conflict, but even when you're just having a conversation with somebody, when you slow down your responses or your reaction, you allow a couple of things to happen within your brain. First of all, you give your brain a chance to calm down if your emotions are running high and think logically with that emotion. When we calm down and take some deep breaths and let our body calm down, then the chemicals that are screaming at us in our limbic system, our emotions, or our complex, which is our fight, flight, freeze, or fawn,
Mhm.
or faint, um, can start going towards the prefrontal cortex of the brain, the thinking part of the brain, and we can think and feel at the same time rather than just spouting off what our emotions and our instincts are telling us to say.
Or reactive words.
Yes.
Yeah.
And most often, more often than not, we don't want to respond with our reactive words. We want to respond with what we're thinking too. And that also the second thing it does is it gives you a chance, you're giving yourself a chance to think through what you're going to say before you say it. Because your brain is calming down and you're not just feeling your way through this. You're thinking through this too. It's really important to be as reasonable and logical as you can be while you're talking with somebody. Not discounting the emotion. The emotion is already there, but you need both in order to get through a conversation.
Yeah. I agree.
So those two things really help when we stop and we breathe and we calm down and let our brain catch up with where the chemicals are going so that we can have a really healthy conflict. And every couple has conflicts. Most every. I have not met a couple yet that does not have conflict in some degree. If they're not having conflict, then one of them is often pushing it under the rug, and it's going to come out at some point.
Yeah.
It might be years later, but it will come out at some point because they're not using their voice.
I think some of the motivation to have the ability to, to stop and listen and to really think through what we're saying to each other
Hmm.
is like, especially in a conflict where you're wanting to be quippy and
Yes.
cutthroat and, well, I really want you to feel what I'm saying here. Your motivation of, like, I want to give, even if it's not that person, even if it's an enemy, like, the I want to give the conversation, this person, and maybe even yourself, like, the best version of me, which is someone who
Yes.
can sit down and think through what I'm saying and really give that person the chance to explain everything.
Right. Right. Yeah. Your best you.
Yeah.
Even if that other person is cutting you down and doing things that are intentionally making you angry. Yeah, it's nice to be able to leave the conflict, leave the conversation knowing, hey, I did not compromise who I want to be. Might not be
Yeah.
who you are right then, but we're working to change our thinking patterns, our behavior patterns, change our brains so that we can be the best person that we can be.
It's also okay to take a beat and sit there and think about what they said for a second. And you might, now, if you're on the phone, you might want to tell them, hey, give me just a second. Let me think about what you just said. But it's okay to take a beat to sit there and think and say, I never thought about it like that. Or, sorry, I needed a chance to think about what you said and then say what
Right,
you're thinking.
right. Yeah, it's
It's
very helpful.
it's okay to let your brain catch up with your
Yes,
words.
it's important to.
Yeah.
So quicker to listen and slower to speak. And the last part is being slow to anger. So, managing anger, controlling your anger, being slow to anger. When we are slower to speak and we're quicker to listen, it is a lot easier to be slower to anger because we're working in tune with our brain to get it calmed down in concert with managing our anger. It just naturally starts progressing that way. So, when you take the time to really listen and understand, not just listen, but understand what someone is saying before you talk, and you're careful with how you respond, you'll find that you're better in control of your emotions and you can be slower to anger. It just makes it a lot easier. So one of the challenges that we run into when we're communicating with our loved ones is that our emotions get involved.
Hmm.
And we talked about this more in season 2, episode 5, managing anger. But we'll recap some of that here and say some things. You are responsible for your emotions, and you can be in control of your emotions. Even if somebody says something that intentionally make you angry, you are still responsible and can be in control of your emotions. It doesn't always feel that way, especially when they know that they're lighting the fuse to your fire, but you still can work to be in control of your emotions, to not let them win in
Yeah.
that situation. And
So
that's what they're trying to do in that situation is win. So
Right.
you take that button away from them, the power away from them when you are staying in control, even when they're trying to light the fuse.
And that's not always obvious either. I had one relationship that I really still struggle with sometimes that um their approach is a lot more calculated. So the way that they
Hmm.
do things is instead of taking responsibility for their issues, they'll say, "I'm sorry that you felt this way," or "I'm sorry that you
Yes.
did this, this, and this." But one of the things that I've had to do is say, "Okay, first off, what is my motivation for having this relationship in the first place?
Hmm.
And like, who do I want to be to them? Who do I want them to be to me?" And then it's separating out like, what am I responsible for and what are they responsible for?
Right. Good.
And what I've been responsible for is I am responsible for going off and not going off.
Hmm.
Managing my own anger, that is my responsibility. My triggers are my responsibility. Even
Right.
if they know them and hit them, how I handle them is my responsibility.
Right.
And my words are my responsibility. Their continuation of the relationship, if I'm doing everything I'm supposed to be doing, the continuation of their relationship is their responsibility at that point. I've
Yes.
put the ball back in their
Right.
court. The words that they choose to use, if they continue to choose to hurt me, if I've communicated that to them, they are choosing to halt that relationship
Yes.
and the growth of that relationship. And I
Right.
think that having that mentality in the beginning of any upcoming arguments or even just the journey of that relationship helps with um helps with the anger because this person can really trigger me even today.
Hmm.
And that has been one of the things that I've had to hang on to is this is what I'm responsible for. This is what I want in this relationship and that's the goal. But this is what I'm going to be responsible for here and this is how I've chosen to handle it.
Yeah.
And then
That's
if
good.
anything passes that, it's time to end the conversation
Yes.
and take a break from the relationship.
Right. And that's okay to do. That sets healthy boundaries around what you're willing to accept in a relationship and what you're not willing to tolerate in a relationship.
Yeah. And I think it ultimately can help you get toward the goal of whatever you want that relationship to be. Like, if you
Hmm.
want it to be, I really would love to be able to talk to this person as a peer or as um, I'd really like to be able to open up to this person more. And I'd like to know what's going on in their life and stuff too. I want to be a friend with this person or whatever.
Hmm.
That can kind of help you figure out if you can get to that point, that motivating factor.
Right. Yeah. Watching the motivation in somebody else too.
Right.
Right. Yeah. That's good. And it takes time to do these things. It takes time to learn how to control your emotions, especially if somebody is intentionally trying to get the best of us.
Yeah.
And you're going to take a couple steps forward and a step back, but analyzing afterwards, okay, I could have done, at this point, I should have said this, or at this point, I shouldn't have said this. At this point, I should have taken a deep breath and let it roll off my back and calm down before I responded back.
Right.
So it's all about taking the time to grow and learn. Nobody does it like that, unfortunately. Otherwise, most of us would be in a much better place than we are in right now.
Yeah.
But it takes time. It takes time for those neural pathways in our brains to change so that it just starts. The more we do it, the easier it gets, so that it starts that interruption that we need in our neural pathways so that it creates a new neural pathway and we create a different habit of the way that we talk, the way that we communicate with other people, the way we respond, so that it can just become, oh, this is just how I live now.
Yeah.
It's taken me years and I still don't always get it right.
Oh, good. I don't feel so bad now.
But I do have a much easier response after years of this of, okay, I can stay calm in this situation. I can get through this. My buttons are pretty much in my little hands now.
Oh, good. Don't let
E-
everybody else have your buttons.
Every once in a while they go like this. Weep, and they go out there for somebody else to push. But then I got to take it back. But that's also part of being intentional in a relationship is holding your own buttons and not like purposefully pressing somebody else's buttons
Yeah.
intentionally.
Now, you remember one time I had to take buttons away from you? You got so mad at something that you started slamming your fingers really hard on your iPad keyboard,
Yes.
and I had to take it away from you.
Yes.
No.
Don't do that. Don't do that.
I
You're gonna
literally
regret
had to
it.
take the
Yes.
buttons out of your
Yes.
hands.
Let's not tell all my secrets, Heather
I know,
Nicole.
but man, that's a perfect story for this.
Yes. Thank you so much. We lose all of our pride when we have children that talk.
You were mad at me. You're mad at somebody else.
Yes, just removed the consequence to my possible consequence to my actions. Yes, so yeah, it is something that we have to learn and grow in and really work on the rest of our lives.
Yeah.
So that wraps it up for episode 4.
Wow, we're going through these quick.
Yeah, we're doing good. So really be intentional in your relationships and really think about those 2 questions that I asked about your motivation in your relationships, because we want you to build your relationships because it can get better than this. Have a great week.
Bye.